became a hypnotist certified at the end of 2009. I'd gone through a divorce in 2007, and a hypnotist helped me through that. And I was working full-time, but I wanted a business of my own. So I went ahead and talked to my hypnotist, and she said, I think you'd be good at that. And so I got certified, was working part-time until the end of 2012. And then the other business closed, and I'm like, well, I've got to put my big girl pants on, and now I'm a full-time hypnotist. So I joined this group in, I think it was early 2013, so now we're talking 10 years or more. And it was very helpful because I was able to stand up and attempt to explain what hypnosis is, what it's not, how it works, why it works, explain a little bit about all the benefits and all the changes that can be very rapidly accomplished through hypnotic techniques and a little bit of coaching, you know, and a little bit of other hypnosis, I guess, techniques and methods. So it was really great, and I kind of cut my teeth here, and then I went on and joined some other groups, and I really have enjoyed it. I've probably hypnotized, we might be up to 1,000 people now. I don't know, it's been that long, and so it's been it's a very gratifying profession. It's very fulfilling for me, and I hope you enjoy some of the things I'm going to talk to you about. So, is anybody...
Hypnotize us today, are you?
I just might be right now.
I just said I'm not a chicken.
So,
Making the chicken.
the thing about the chicken, I heard the chicken, yeah. The thing about hypnosis is I spend a lot of time debunking the myths and misconceptions of it. Hollywood does no service to my profession. Maybe you've seen the silly old movies where it looks like the person's under some sort of weird spell. But even more recent movies, Hollywood came out with a movie just last year, this Wakanda Forever, Black Panther comic book type movie. There's a scene in the movie where there are mutants that live under the ocean. They're trying to get this metal called vibranium. And so there's a ship on the ocean with military and science personnel on the ship. And the mutants make this sound, and the people on the ship walk to the edge of the boat, and they drop themselves into the ocean. And then in the movie, the scene happens again, the same thing happens again, and somebody in the movie yells, "That's hypnosis." I just about threw my shoe at the TV. It's not mind control. I can't control anybody's mind. I've tried to control Gerald. I'm sorry. Hasn't worked. No, I can't control anybody's mind. I can't make you do anything against your values or your morals or your will. I can't make you go to the bank and bring me back some small bills or maybe some large bills, you know. It's Christmas, so please do that. But, you know, but the stage hypnotist, that's kind of the same thing. You can't believe people are up there on stage doing that crazy stuff. But what a stage hypnotist is doing, or really what any hypnotist is doing, is we are scientifically, through scientific methods and techniques, slowing down the brain waves. So naturally, at about the age of 19, our brain waves speed up to what's called the beta brainwave state. And in the faster brain waves, we're better able to make decisions, and we judge things, and we analyze things. But as we know, kids and teens are in slower brainwave states called alpha and theta. So as we know, teenagers don't necessarily make the best of decisions, right? That's actually biological. Their brain waves have not yet sped up. What we know now is the frontal lobes haven't connected to the rest of the brain. In fact, recent research tells us that those brain connections really are not even fully made until we're about 24, 25, kind of even outside of the college years. So when we scientifically slow down the adult brain waves to the same speed as that of children, then like children, we become very open and we become very creative, and it makes it easy to make those changes that you're wanting to make. It's basically reprogramming. And so it's easier to reprogram your mind if you're in an open state, you know, like children. And usually then with a new client or a group, I'll go on and explain. Usually I use my phone. And so I just say, you know, these little phones that we all have, We carry these phones around, and we know these are computers, right? So you work on the computer. Maybe you play a game on the computer. Well, unless we're a computer programmer, we don't really think about all those programs that are running in the background of our minds, supporting those applications that we're running. We're just using the computer. So the cool thing about hypnosis is it's kind of like going into the hard drive, so to speak, of your mind and removing all those patterns and programs you don't want or need anymore, such as smoking, such as maybe eating too much sugar, such as not having confidence to speak in public, or removing fears like fear of flying, fear of driving over bridges, removing maybe some responses that you have to your family or friends that are angry. You know, it's like, I really don't want to respond in an angry way. I want to be more measured and breathe and, you know, respond in a more appropriate way. Removing whatever programming that you don't want or need anymore, and then putting in new positive programs to create that change that you're wanting. So it's really like the perfect marriage between your conscious desire to make a change. Your conscious mind is the driver, folks. It's the motivator. If you're not motivated to quit smoking, you're not going to do it. I can't make you do it. You know, if a client comes in and says, well, my doctor says I need to quit smoking, my wife wants me to quit, I'm like, we've got to get your motivation up for you. And then reprogramming the subconscious. And the beautiful truth is your inner mind wants to help you. That's its job, that's its duty, to fulfill all the desires that you have for your life. It's just that sometimes this old conditioning, these old programs have gotten in the way. Okay. So I'm not going to go on and explain much more about hypnosis. You can look at my website. You can, you know, do your own research about it. But what I want to do here today is give you a few easy hacks for anxiety and stress, because a lot of times during the holidays we're so busy and we've got family and friends and functions and clients and customers, and it just gets kind of nuts during the holidays. So there's several techniques in my anti-anxiety toolkit, which a lot of these techniques that I've learned from other people. I haven't developed all of this stuff on my own. In fact, I'm pretty good at receiving information and then giving it back out to teach you. So there's one called bilateral stimulation. 2 really long words, but it's very, very simple. So the idea is when we have worries and stresses, we think that the neurons in the brain, what we know is the neurons in the brain that fire together, wire together. And what we think about the worries is they typically lodge in the left hemisphere of the brain. So you know when you start to get worried about something, concerned, you're kind of going down that train track and everything just sort of closes in and all you can think about is that one thing. So this bilateral stimulation, what it does is it starts to balance the 2 hemispheres of the brain. There are therapists who do a technique called EMDR. I don't know, you've heard of it, you maybe experienced it. So it's my understanding they give you these buzzy things, and you can buy these things on Amazon. You can do it yourself, but you can do the stimulation part yourself. So you put the buzzies in your hand, and they go back and forth, and they do this rapid eye thing to go back and forth. Same thing, it's balancing the hemispheres of the brain. So what you can do, and you guys can do this with me if you want to, you can take an object, and if you want to, you can put this object out in front of you. You just need to stretch out your arm, or you can do it, yeah, there you go. You can do it towards you like this if you don't have enough room. So just put the object out in front of you, and what you're going to do is just put your other hand out, and what you're going to do is move the hand to the object past the midpoint of your body, and then grab the object, and then past the midpoint of your body again. So what you're doing by this really simple technique, this bilateral stimulation, is you're crossing the midpoint of the body, you're also crossing the midpoint of the brain. So you're starting to balance those 2 hemispheres of the brain. I was working with a weight loss client a number of years ago, an elementary school art teacher up in St. Joseph, and she said one of her classes was just out of control, wild, and she said, I taught them this, and maybe she talked to them in a very calm voice, before class started. And she goes, it was amazing how they settled down. So that's a hack. And you could do it close to you if you want. We don't have room. Okay, so that's bilateral stimulation. The next hack that you can do is called stopping the world. So what you do in this technique is, as you're kind of going, the world is going crazy and your mind's going crazy and you're just trying to settle down, what you do is you focus on a spot like the top of the wall or near the ceiling. So you can try this with me if you like. So find a spot on the top of the wall or the ceiling. And as you're looking at that spot, see if you can expand the edges of that spot on the horizontal and move it to the edges of the room here. So make it really, really big, wide on the horizontal. And then after you do that, expand the spot on the vertical. So make it as far as you can, up and down. Get it as big as you can all the way around. So it's really huge. And just keep focusing on that spot. And then, after you're looking at that spot and focusing on the enormous spot there, see if you can perceive with your mind the space that's behind your head. So how is that for you guys? Comments?
Kind of very neutral and quiet.
Yeah, just kind of settles you down, right? It's called stopping the world. So they've done some studies with problem gamblers, and they taught them to start with the bilateral stimulation, and they've taught them this. They've said, bring up the urge to go gamble. Just think about gambling. Bring up the craving or the urge, whatever. And they said, okay, several times a day, 3 times a day, I think it was, maybe 4. Start with the bilateral stimulation, and then as you're doing that, look at that spot, do the stopping the world, stack it. So you can stack these 2 techniques, one on top of the other, and imagine that spot really big, and perceive with your mind the space. And they actually documented that the urge to gamble went down. So they're trying to get some evidence for some of these hacks that we've learned over the years.